to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
I just didn't know what to say. When I said to Sticks and Strings, I didn't know what I was thinking. I couldn't figure out what it was, and it's because all week I don't know where I work. I do a job. I'm like, thank you for calling the. No, it's not the Phoenix Symphony. What is it? Oh yeah, Arizona Music Fest. So I've been known to be. Thank you for calling
Us.
Arizona Music Fest. Or thank you for calling the Arizona. So it's been a hard week.
Like my friend, when Danny, like one time he accidentally said, "Bye, I love you."
Yeah.
To a customer.
Yeah. Your brain has a hard time unwiring itself. Welcome back to our channel. Thanks for joining us. We've had one full week of June, and we hope it's treating you well. Grab your stitching, grab your beverage of choice, and join us for a little chat. So I think Eve is going first.
I am. So I started, this is one of my starts from WIP-GO, Cougar Canyon by Pigeon Coop. And I showed you the fabric I dyed, and I had to do it on a different piece because this is not 18 count, it is 28 count. So the piece I cut was too small. I'll use it for something else. Okay. So this is as far as I got. And it's not horribly far, but you know.
Is it the top?
Yeah, it's this right here.
Oh, okay. It is going to be much smaller than my brain thinks for some reason.
Yeah. So that's what I started. And then we had a cross-stitch camp start, and my cross-stitch camp choice for June is Blue Moon Garden by Carriage House Samplings. I have to say I am loving working on this, as evidenced by the fact that I've gotten pretty far.
Let me see. That's pretty.
And I love it on this pink fabric.
Mm-hmm.
The colors just really pop.
Yeah.
So I haven't put in, there's one color I haven't put in. Mostly I'm working with blue and green. And you know, I was putting in this blue flower this morning. And I thought for a second, oh no, I didn't count the green right. It doesn't meet up. And then I looked at it and I was like, I'm missing a row. Yes, it meets up fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I hadn't stitched anything up to that row yet. So I'm really excited working on this. I just love it. I loved it when I saw it at the Nashville Needlework Market. I was just like, I got to have that pattern. And it's been all I can do to wait until it was June.
That's fun.
And then the WIP that I intended to concentrate on, one of them too this month, is Sweet Wings Studio Goodness and Mercy. I decided not to turn this into a quail simply because I'd have to change the color of the bird, and I don't want to. I like the blue bird. So, because quail aren't blue. They're very near blue. They're brown. They're beautiful, but they're brown. Anyway, I've gotten most of the word mercy in.
Nice.
I have
Goodness and mercy.
Yes. And I started putting in a little bit of flower and leaves just to break my brain from that white. Now, are my stitches good? No. But you know, the pillow is going to be for me. I am really struggling with 32 count right now. So, as a matter of fact, I just went to the eye doctor, and that's the story. Okay. And then, I feel like I'm racing. I worked on the temperature chart, under the sea temperature chart, designed by myself for Three Sisters Creative. And we started a new month. I moved the turtle. I started the new month. I don't know if I realized last month that June was up too high. I don't mind it there, so I'm not going to change it.
Do you mean May?
May. That May was up too high. I'm leaving it there. I'm not going to frog that entire month and try to restitch it like I did July, June, January.
One of those J words.
Let me see. You're okay.
So in the pattern, it's like 2 rows lower.
Oh,
or 1
okay.
row lower, but it's not going to matter in the long run.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But I put in the turtle again, and I put it in a different spot, and I just think it's amazing. I love it. It's bad to say that about your own patterns, but I love the ocean,
Yeah.
and I'm loving the way this is looking.
It's cute. It's very, very cute.
So, speaking of ocean, no, I'll wait on that. So, I have one sock done. Finished it off. Well, no, I haven't seen it. So, I finished it off, and
Does it fit okay?
well, it fits the same as it did before, so yeah. And then I haven't had yarn to start the second one, so I started a new project. And did I get the front of it? Oh, the sock is Perfect Fit Crochet Socks, crochet pattern by Ola Poltava. And I think that if you follow her instructions on adjusting the size, you can get it to fit perfectly. And I'm looking for the beginning of this pattern so that I can show it to you. I'm making a set of coasters that look like a burger.
Cute.
So I've made, so far, I've made an onion. It's a purple onion. I've made lettuce. And a slice of cheese. Okay, it's white cheese. Okay, because I couldn't find a light yellow that was actually, you know,
American
cheese color.
You should have put little red flecks in it. It could be pepper jack.
I can do that.
Because pepper jack is white.
And right now,
That's so cute. I didn't know you were doing this.
I hadn't mentioned it to you. Right now, I'm working on meat.
So it's red and brown together?
It's burgundy and brown together.
Oh, neat.
Is it beef or is it fake meat?
It's impossible meat.
It's a beyond, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
But,
I can't stand this. It's adorable.
So you have to make a tomato and
A
then the
tomato.
buns.
You better make the tomato even though you don't like them.
I'll make the tomato. I
Then
don't have
if-
to eat it.
Is the top bun actually curled like that?
Yeah, but after I do the meat, I'm supposed to work on the bottom bun.
Mm-hmm.
Then I work on the tomato, and then I work on the top bun.
That is funny.
Isn't it hilarious? And they're huge.
Yeah.
The pictures show these big enough for a beer stein,
Yeah.
you know. And I thought, that's okay. My little sodas will fit on there. Look, fit just fine.
That's hysterical.
So
The reason she doesn't have yarn is because I was supposed to.
that's okay. She's been busy, and I know. It's not like she had nothing on her plate. So, not quite done. Since that blue fabric wasn't the correct size, what I cut for this Sweet Wings, Silver Creek Samplers, A Sweet Memory, wasn't going to be big enough. And as you recall from last week, I said that I changed the bottom to be swimming related. And I wanted to find a fabric that looked more like water, because I was disappointed So the only one I could find at Hobby Lobby that was blue is this 14 count. But if this piece of fabric is not big enough, I bought a 16 count that I can dye. So that's what I'm going to put this on. And then I wanted to buy a t-shirt from the gym, that it's not a gym, where I go for physical therapy. So I bought a t-shirt. And this seems like, you know, oh well, you bought a t-shirt, so what, right? Because I bought a t-shirt, I got a free bag, and I went, project bag!
Now you don't have to be jealous of Beth's T-Mobile bag.
Oh, I'm still jealous of that.
Is that new, or have you had this bag, this one?
No, I've had this.
Oh,
I put my,
I've never seen it
I
like
put
this.
crochet stuff in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go fervently on the meat here. I didn't pull out the yarn for the bun, so, but this meat is pretty involved. So,
Are you done?
yeah.
All right, now it's my turn. Shoot, I should have waited to start this. Hold on. Let me, as we say in knitting, tink the back. So that's knitting backwards. Get it?
I saw a little meme about when you're pulling the yarn from the middle of the thing and a big knot comes out.
Yarn barf. Yes.
Well, that's what happened here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm winding it from the other end to try to get.
I have my, I can wind it for you. Okay, so I'm still working on the sweater. You're bored of me. I'm sorry. I'm still working on it, and I didn't really work much. What I should do is, I follow this one knitter who puts a progress marker. So she'll put a progress marker during her video, and so then her next video you can see how much she's done. So I should do that to motivate myself. But anyway, I'm still working on my aunt's sweater. This is 3 rectangles, 2 triangles. If you are interested in knitting a sweater, but you don't know where to start, this is a really good pattern to start with because it's really simple. It's just an open cardigan that kind of would, like you close the flap over and you can put a shawl pin or something like that on it. So it's really easy, and it's a drop shoulder. You make it in pieces. So this is the back, and it uses bulky yarn, so it goes a little faster than, like, you know, obviously than a finer yarn sweater. And then you make 2 fronts the same size. And I think long ago, far away, I talked about, sorry. I talked about how you start it. You start it with swatches. So you make a swatch, and then that swatch becomes the pocket. And then you just make another one. So to practice, as I told you, to practice making these pieces, I'm making them all at the same time. You don't have to do that. You can just make them one at a time, but I practiced on these swatches making 2 at a time, so I could figure out the pitfalls and issues I might have. But so you make 2 pockets to start with, and those are your gauge swatches, so you make sure that your needles are the right size and everything. And then you make 3 basic rectangles. It's knit and purl across the front and purl across the back, and that's the only pattern until it's long enough. Then you sew it at the shoulders, and then you make the sleeves, which are, it says 2 triangles, but it's really a trapezoid, because you start, I think you start at the cuff and knit up and increase. I'm not sure, but you make that to the right length, and it's a drop shoulder, so it's not very long, because you sew the top together at the shoulders and measure how far it falls down on your arm, and then you make the sleeve that length, and then you sew the sleeves in, and then you sew the sleeve seam all the way down the side, and you're done. You don't have to put a button placket. You don't have to do a collar. It's just regular. Just slip it over, and really neat. This is by Stacy Perry. I'll put the name and designer on the screen. so if you're like, I want to knit a sweater, I don't know where to start, this is a really easy, good way to start. And I had started one for myself a year ago, maybe, in gray, because at the time, because I'm so impatient, I went to the yarn shop, and the only color that had enough skeins, which it takes about 10 skeins of this bulky size yarn, the only color that had enough skeins was gray, which is fine, and I don't mind a gray sweater. I actually like a gray sweater, so I started to make it. And I was making the back first as instructed. And it says keep track of your rows, and for some reason I didn't, and I got lost. And it's easy enough to count up, but anyway, I kind of just ran out of steam. And went squirrel and did other projects. So I still have that sitting there for me, but when I decided to make this one for my aunt, I was like, I don't want to fall into that pitfall. As it is, it's taking me way longer than I had hoped, but I decided to make the pieces at the same time. But if you were wanting to start, you would absolutely not have to do that. You just keep track of your rows on like a row counter. And that way you can make the back and the two fronts the exact same length, and the sleeves as well. So this is a really easy first sweater to try. It's just a pullover cardigan, it's just open, you know, kind of comfy. Like the designer says, she just wears this around her house, you know, and when it's chilly. And so anyway, that's this project that's taking me forever, but it's not one like I can travel with, because I have all these, you see me wrangling and wrestling this huge thing. If you were working on it one piece at a time, it would be much less fiddly, as they say. So that's this. And then I brought this to show you. Eve had said that last week she asked me to wind her yarn, and I didn't do it over the week. I'm going to do it today while I'm here at their house. This yarn comes in a little skein, and she'd like me to turn it into a little cake. And I brought my yarn winder, and I don't know if any of y'all had ever seen this. If most of you are not knitters, you hook this to a table, you feed the yarn through here, and then it winds it, and it does this crooked thing so that it winds it in those angled balls that you see. So it's really cool. And this wasn't cheap, but it's the cheapest version of a yarn winder. They make really beautiful wooden ones that one day I'm going to have. But what's nice about this is very portable. You just hook it to a table. It's got a, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little
Vice thing.
vise, yeah. And you just tighten it up here. And usually, like if I buy yarn like this, whoops. If I buy yarn like this is a great big circle of yarn. This is yarn 101 right now. This is a great big circle. It's called this, it comes in a skein like
You
this.
used to see people in the movies all the time.
Right. So yeah, you either have to have a friend do this because you can't knit from this. You have to put it into a cake with something like this. But so if I'm using this, I have something called a Swift, which also can hook to a table, and it opens like an umbrella and puts this in a big circle, and it just turns freely as you wind the yarn. But since Eve's yarn is already in a ball, I just have to throw this into my bag and let it fly around while I wind it into a different shape. So that's the story of yarn winding. Now this is interesting because you see this is tied here, but it's not inside the label. When they put the label on, they didn't include that one strand. That's funny. Anyway, so this is, and now I learned this in my job at the yarn shop, how you make those skeins is you wind it up and then it folds back on itself.
That's what they do with the,
What was that? Dogness.
That was a dog crash. So anyway, you can twist it back up into a little, back into a little tight little braid like this. And this is a good way to store those big circles of yarn.
that's what they do with those specialty threads. Like,
Yeah.
the attic and stuff, same,
Yeah.
same exact thing.
So I'm gonna wind her yarn for her, but I
Yeah.
also learned how to wind it on your thumb, which is the same as winding it on a what's called a nostapinna, which is a conical shaped stick that people use. But I saw this video about winding yarn on your thumb, so I do that a lot
Wouldn't that be,
for like a small amount. Huh?
wouldn't that be uncomfortable?
No, not at all. You've not noticed, but I do it on camera a lot. Like if I have just a small ball,
Okay.
I'll just wind it up that way. But anyway, that is me.
Okay. Let me just stick this in because this is hard to work. I didn't realize how hard it was to work on this in here because it's,
Kind of dim.
yeah, it's kind of dim. And this is very tiny yarn. Well, so, what have I been doing? Last week was when we recorded, it was the end of May, and I had made a big boo-boo on my parade of elephants, and I had to pull it all out. And so I spent the rest of the day fixing this elephant. So I have my first elephant in the parade. I just have the outline. I didn't fill it in. But I said, I ain't gonna put that elephant in there, doggone it. After I ripped it all out twice, because when I was redoing it, I made another boo-boo, so I had, yeah. So anyway, so he's all done except for the fill-in. And I realized that all of the elephants in this little elephant parade have 3 legs instead of 4. They all have only 3 legs.
The 4th is implied.
They're all standing with their back legs perfectly lined up. But anyway, so that's that one, and that's May, and I don't know when
You could add a leg if you want to.
yeah. So that's like I said, that's May. So I don't know when I'll get back to that. Next May, I don't know whenever. And then also I added one more thing. I'm going to do. Father's Day is Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Is this Sunday?
No, it's next Sunday.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Next Sunday.
Which is weird because tomorrow is the 2nd Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
So I'm going to do another day of this To My Dear Father pattern. I mentioned it in April for my dad's birthday. And so I haven't done anything on it since then, so it's just, it's still in this little preliminary stage. I just did 1 day of stitching on it. So.
I like that needle minder.
Yeah, I got that. Where did I get that? I got it at Hollywood. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like their bee set.
Yeah. They have a set of, of wooden needle minders. And so on the 1st, I started my cross stitch camp piece. And for June, of course, it's stitch something that shows whether you're a daytime or nighttime stitcher. And I'm doing the Celestial Sisters Biscornu by Silver Creek Samplers, which has a daytime and a nighttime side. And I've started on the daytime side.
It's so beautiful.
And so I've
Wow, you've gotten so far.
Yeah,
Is that just this week?
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
I've got most of it, except for like there's some, not quite black, $37.99. These are all DMC colors. So I kind of didn't like the way it looked with I hadn't done any of this dark color for their eyes and their faces on the sun and this little, I guess it's a little sun, I don't know what it is. But so it was just a blank and they looked blind. So I went to put their eyes in, except for the dark, just the little bit, a few stitches of this black color for the eyes. But so there's 3 more of these little smaller sun type things here, and some more of these little cloud shapes, and a few. I have 4 of these little flares from the sun to fill in with this same dark color that are on on the face and everything. So, but anyway, so when I do those 3 stars, sun type stars, this will be done, and the clouds, this will be done. It goes pretty quickly. It's but the little sun things. I decided that when I do them, the way I did this one, I did sort of, there's an outside ring of a darker color, but then I was doing the inside of that. It's really hard because with having to skip over, make sure you leave the right holes for the faces and everything. Yeah. So I think I'm going to do those faces, after the outline. The one outside circle is easy, and then do the face, and then fill in all the rest of it. But so it should be. I did have to take one part out and redo it when it was one of these little flares because I did it first, and I didn't leave. I left half space too much and blah blah blah. And I didn't spot it until I came around. But anyway, but I did do one day as a sort of palette cleanser because I was getting tired working on it. So one of my WIP-GO calls is part of this Black Cat season series. I'm doing the last pattern in the Black Cat series. It's just called Black Cat Season is the name of the pattern. And so I did one day on it. So this is one of the little free borders that she provided. So it starts underneath it. And this black line thread down the side is just the edge of the pattern so that I can keep everything lined up properly. And I failed to do so. I started out okay, I started with this little star in the corner, and I was doing the purple little floret kind of things, and I went to do this orange, kind of border thing, and I realized that these are in the wrong place. This thread, like I said, shows me where the edge is. And so some of the parts of the pattern, go up to the edge, and some of them don't, right? Some of them are, a couple of spaces off. And so this thread is like one stitch over from where the edge is, right? So anything that's up to the edge is one stitch from this thread. And so I realized as I was going down there that, that's all wrong. So I had to take all those purple stitches out and redo them all. But I did this basically around the bottom. And
Sorry, I'm just looking at the whole
yeah, I undid it because it was all curled up, but I wanted to look at it.
That's really neat.
So yeah, back in the olden days when you used to have servants who lived downstairs, you would ring the little bell pull to bring the servant up to make you tea or whatever.
So you're going to ring this and Eve will bring you a Diet Coke?
That's right.
Is that what's going to happen?
Yes. Ding ding.
Not a chance.
What you should do is use this on a bell and ring it right before you feed your cats, and the dogs will be there waiting.
That's called
All she has to do is open the door.
Yeah, because my door squeaks, and so the dogs come running. I call them Pavlov and Pavlov's brother.
Yep. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So I'm gonna do. So it shouldn't take very long because the majority of this is just the words Black Cat Season, and then of course this big moon and the big cat. There's a lot of stitching.
And don't you have like a
beautiful.
topper thing?
Yeah.
That you bought with
When she announced this design 2 years ago, there's 6 designs altogether, and this is the 6th one, and then there was a thread pack of Week Starworks threads, and there's a few DMC colors that are used in it, like for the cat's nose, the single stitch for the nose and the whiskers, are just DMC colors. So she offered a thread pack, the Week Star colors, and even though I have lots of weeks, I went ahead and bought the thread pack, and I bought the little wooden topper. It was made by Beth Twist's husband. He gets like deadfall wood on their property and makes things out of them. So I bought that, and it's a really cute little topper. I had it out earlier, but I think he painted there's two little black cats on there, and it has little cutout stars and moons and things on it. Just gorgeous. And then this fabric also was she was offering that for sale also. And I usually
so
don't.
you didn't dye that one?
No,
Oh, okay.
I usually don't bother buying the call for fabric of a design. I just do whatever appropriate color things I wanted to do. But she had this cut was cut specifically for this pattern, and this is
That would be really hard to find.
Yeah.
It's so long.
Yeah, she called it a skinny quarters as opposed to a fat quarter. This is Blackberry Latte linen by Graysmith Fabrics, as is 32 count, I think. Yeah, 32 count. So I went ahead and bought this fabric. So I just went bananas with this design, and I just bought everything associated with it. And I'm hoping to finish the last pattern this month, and I have actually fabric for the backing. I have actually some polka dot fabric, just like this, for the.
Do you cut
hanger.
them apart?
Hmm?
Do you cut them apart?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it's just one long thing. But I have the backing fabric that you can go along the side and the back. I don't know exactly how to do it yet because I haven't bothered to think that far ahead.
Ask your sewing sisters to
Yes.
I was gonna say, she's already said,
Help me do this. Well,
I'm
and
like, I don't know how to do that.
yeah. When I
But you can figure it out.
when I looked I've looked online, that's like how to finish a belt buckle, and they're all like these, like kind of old-fashioned things, or they're like leather, but something. It's cut. You can't. It's really hard to find, or it's for me impossible to find, like how to do a belt buckle. They kind of like how to do like a wall hanging or something.
Yeah. Well,
but
what does she
nothing.
recommend? Does she recommend?
I don't think she has a tutorial about it. I don't think. I'll have to look. But again, when the time comes. but yeah, it's. But I'm hoping that maybe this month I'll be able to do that last pattern, and it'll be ready. Right now, as it is right now, there's we're don't have any of our finishing things handy, and so I don't even know if I have the fabric out or if I put it in storage, but yeah, so the time will come to figure that out, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But and also, Stephanie Webb designed these little borders that you could put, if you wanted to, you could put in between the designs. So I chose several of them here, like these cats and these cats, and the word meow that I have at the top. And when I finish it, I'm going to put meow on the bottom as well. So it's just coming along very nicely.
That's nice.
And then I think that's me.
Is that it?
That's it.
I have a comment.
Mm.
This hamburger coaster pattern is by Dasha House,
Okay.
FYI.
That's cool. I love that thing.
When I saw it, I went, okay, that's neat.
It's really cute.
But it uses a ton of different colors.
That's fun.
but only a little bit of each color. So, you know, it's like I bought these little tiny ones
Yeah.
as much as possible. I'm really having fun every time. I'm like, look, it's a lettuce.
So cute.
Yeah, red flakes. That would be good.
Yeah. All right. So that means it's time for question of the week. Last week we asked what are your summer plans, and we got some replies. Chris Cook is planning to go on 8 to 12 camping trips, which I'm so jealous
Wow.
of. That sounds perfect. But you know, I'm thinking we're going to start half days in July, half Fridays. So I'm thinking maybe we can grab at least a cabin or something during get in the mountains at least once this summer.
That'd be nice. You and Eli and Mark will enjoy that, and you can Zoom Hannah in.
Oh, that's sad. Don't say that. And then she's also going to Kansas City for a cross-stitch retreat at the end of July. That sounds like fun. And she wished us well on the new job and the house hunting. And then Lumi Stitch says your Berscornu was beautiful. The one you did.
Thank you.
Well, she said the Berscornu chart. I'm assuming she means the one that you made, or maybe it's the ones that you have, Beth. I'm not sure.
The chart is beautiful.
Yeah. And then Vicky says that she's planning some little road trips. They're going to go, she's going to take her granddaughters to a Lane Wilson concert. And her goal in life is to get to every Major League Baseball park before she croaks.
Okay.
So that's fun. I love baseball.
You can come here and go to all the spring training parks all at one time.
Those aren't Major League. But
No, some of the
they're
Major League spring
they
training
are.
guys come here.
Oh, yeah. No, they are.
Yeah. It's just not the park.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you really like baseball, spring training here.
Yep. February.
Yeah.
And Christy,
Rogan.
3023, yeah, she busted it. Christy 3023 says she's planning a trip to Florida and wished us well as well. So,
Part of Florida.
she doesn't say. So our question this week, we're interested, since we were talking about all this knitting and crocheting hamburger sets. We're wondering, what are your fiber choices? If you're a knitter, crocheter, do you like to go 100% wool? Do you like a blend? Does it depend on the project? For me, it depends on the project. Or do you like, full-on acrylic? Because sometimes acrylic is really versatile in terms of like care and that kind of thing.
If you have to wash it.
And then if you're a cross-stitcher, what kind of material do you prefer? Do you prefer Ada, linen? What's the others?
Lugana,
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
What are your fiber material preferences?
Yeah. Do you like fancy floss or
Silks? Some people really love silks.
Silks, yeah. Or like those cotton ones that you were using. Those are cool for that big.
The pearl cotton.
the pearl cotton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if you are a crocheter, how many are thread crochet? I love thread crochet. I haven't done it in a long time, like doilies and those kind of things. I really love that. As for my materials, like this is a wool acrylic blend because I didn't want my aunt to have to worry about hand washing and blocking a sweater. That is not her lifestyle that she's gonna be able to deal with that. So I just wanted you can throw it in the washer and it's okay. But otherwise I really like using real wool, spinning my own wool. So that's kind of where we are. Eve's counting.
Yeah, I have.
I always wanted a shirt that says shh, I'm counting.
Yeah.
So that's our question of the week. Please let us know your preferences. We just like to discuss things that are all fiber related and sometimes life related. So yeah, question of the week.
Yeah.
And
not so much count or anything like that.
Whatever.
Just what
count is fine
type.
too. But just like what do you gravitate to?
because I like all different counts, and I like all but my sweet spot is 32 count. Lugana.
Mhm.
I just,
What about yarn?
oh, yarn, I don't care.
You don't care, whatever's there.
Whatever, I care about what color it is. Yeah. I found some that I really like the color of at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, those must be from when they had the fancy yarns out, because they were $20.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been known to buy an expensive skein. So.
Well, buying an expensive skein of yarn for
The right project is
for
one thing. Yeah.
an outfit or
Yeah.
you know something like that is one thing, but
For a hamburger set, no. No, you have to have acrylic for that because that's what I mean. Depends on the project.
it has to soak
take.
up
Yeah, it has
the
to.
water.
Wool would work, but you know. Oh, okay. Now we're gonna mesh into stories. So my cat, who, yes, we know that at night when we're not around, he gets on the counter. We see the little footprints on the stove, on the glass stove. So we know that. But he usually doesn't break anything, and we don't leave, food out for them to eat or whatever. But one night, early morning, all of a sudden we hear crash. And we're like, what on earth? And so we go, and he broke a coffee cup that is from New Mexico Coffee. That big, beautiful blue one that I had at work. I brought it home.
Oh wow!
And I was going to take it back to work, but
Did you ask him why?
I was mad at him. I figured that it was Hobbs, but it could have been Calvin. We weren't sure, but I was pretty sure it was Hobbs. And we couldn't figure out why would he sit on the table and knock a thing off?
Because cats are jerks.
Well, okay. This whole story is related to fiber, okay? So then 2-3 days later, we're in the the evening, I guess. I don't know. Again, crash, and he broke a glass. I can't remember what glass it was now. It was Eli's Red Sox glass.
Oh no!
Well, the printing on it had started to kind of melt in the dishwasher, so it wasn't precious. But still, he's like, I gotta go to Boston and get a new cup. But so I'm like, what is going on? And then I realized, long ago, far away, I think it was when we went to Taos. So this was it last summer? Maybe? I bought 2 coasters in a shop in Taos that are about this big. They're kind of big and they have tufts, but it's like, it's weaving.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a Navajo rug kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
It's
remember
weaving.
those.
It's real wool. And the little wool hunter, Mark I don't know how, because I had kind of put them away because I knew he would want to eat them. But Mark had gotten one because now we have the new coffee machine. And he had pulled it out from somewhere and was using it as a coaster. And it was that he was grabbing and trying to pull off the counter. So it's like, I have to put these away, Mark. We cannot use these. or you can put your cup away, but that's a whole other thing.
I was going to say,
It's a whole other thing.
I have a video that I posted the other day because it came up in my memories. But when I lived in Little Rock, I had it was like an oversized teacup that was a planter. It was like a giant teacup that was it had the teacup saucer was the water thing for the planter.
Cute.
So it was really cute. It was really pretty, and I had a pothos that I had since graduate school. One of my roommates, I had 4 roommates over 4 semesters, it's a long story, but my first roommate, what's her name, the stripper?
Anyway, she
had a story for another day.
She had brought a plant with her, and she dropped out of school like before the end of the semester. But so she left this plant, and I named it Herbert. But it came in, you know, it was a cheap plastic planter.
So you adopted it.
So yeah. So over the years, I, you know, repotted.
Now, what year was that?
I got the plant in 83.
86?
83. So I'd had this plant for ages, and I had it in this teacup planter. And I had it originally way up on top of my bookcase, and you know, but it was really hard to water, so I would take it down and water and put it back up. And this particular time, I took it to the kitchen, and I had it in the sink, and I was kind of giving it a you know, good soaks, right? So I watered it, and I had it in the sink so that it could, you know, do its thing. And Snug was over there like investigating and sticking his nose in and sticking, you know, and I was like, you know, I'd shoot him away, and I made a mistake
Of leaving it there.
of leaving it in the sink overnight. And I woke up to find dirt everywhere, all over the counters, all over the floor. The plant was pulled out of the teacup. The soil in the teacup was all the way, it was completely emptied out.
You're lucky you didn't poop in it.
No, I did not. But it was like the plant was, you know, I had a double sink, and so the plant was over here, basically dead in the sink, and there, like I said, the teacup was in this side of the sink, completely empty, and there was dirt all over the counter, all over the floor, and so I was like, it was Sunday morning that I woke up to this, and I was videotaping it on my phone, and Puck walks in there like, oh, look what I did, and then like he lays down and is rolling over.
So, Tomaluk used to like to pull off toilet paper, but overall he didn't do it because we would put it backwards. And my son had a teddy bear that was sent to him by Naomi and her family when I got it. I came home one day, and he had dragged that teddy bear into the living room.
The cat had dragged.
The cat had. And there was shredded toilet paper everywhere. At first, I thought it was the innards of the teddy bear.
I thought it was the stuffing.
First, I thought it was the stuffing, because there was little white stuff everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, it looked like a murder scene. Like he was like, let's see, splatter here, we'll put some splatter there. I'm like,
He just had a fun old time.
he just had a fun time. He went in and got some toilet paper. I'm like, don't put the toilet paper that way. You know. But I was so scared that he'd torn up the
bear.
The bear. I mean, as it was, he dragged it out there.
That's so cute. Can you picture him carrying it the way cats do with their little hands?
Rope does that with that big pull tug of war thing. It's about that long. It's as long as she is easily.
And she drags it.
She's dragging it.
My cat Cyrano used to do when the movie Toy Story first came out. McDonald's or Burger King, one of those places, had a promotional thing where you could buy these. They were like hand puppets. So you put your hand in the puppet, and like your fingers became the feet, and then the puppet sat up here. And so the only one I really wanted was the dinosaur. You see, you could put the dinosaur. So I had bought the dinosaur, and I just had it as like a stuffy on my bed. And Cyrano, my cat Cyrano, would grab that dinosaur by his head, and he would drag it all over and he did that walk because the dinosaur was as big as he was, and he would like walk with his feet like that.
I went to we have a Cane's nearby, and because I love Cane's, but they have this so good. Their Texas toast is like so
Their
buttery.
Texas toast is delicious.
So good, but I can't eat it. So instead of tempting myself, I used to be like, I'll just have a bite or half. It never works. So when we want canes, I just get a kid's meal, which comes with 2 chicken fingers and fries. And I can leave the fries. It's that bread I cannot. So I always take a bite of Mark's bread and then he takes, or Mark, or Eli takes the fries, whatever. But anyway, it always comes with a toy. And the one time it came with this little, a little dog, because Kane is a dog, right? So it was a little blue dog, kind of with his arms and legs out like this, and he has a suction cup on the back, so you can stick it on your window or whatever. And it was just around the house, and it was on the dining table, and Hobbs was like, and it was kind of heavy, you know, so he had to work at it. It was so cute. So he finally knocked it down. We see it here and there around the place. Oh, speaking of cats, I bought one of those kitty curls. Have you seen those ads everywhere, all over Instagram, Facebook? It's a cardboard accordion type thing, and it has a magnet, and it magnets to itself, and so it turns into a circle, and then it has a groove in it where you can put a ball. It comes with a ball as well, and they had a 2-for-1 deal, so I bought 2 of them, and it's supposed to guarantee to entertain your cat. And actually, after the cats were initially afraid of it, Calvin went to town on it, because you can get into the middle of it, and because it stretches and you know, and it turns around, and it's that scratchy cardboard. Now, the first day he really played with it, and then I didn't think to film him until later after the big play session. He's just laying there doing this with the ball, so it looks like he's bored with it. But and they really haven't. I was hoping, because they were like on each other, like kind of beating each other up a little bit, and thought maybe it would help with that feelings that they get. But anyway, I bought it for them. I totally fished in by ads. But
Does your vet say, well, don't let them fight? Like they ask your permission. So
I try to stop it.
have you seen those ads for a cat toy that I guess it has a battery? I don't know. But it sits there and then it flops and goes over there and flops and goes over there. I'm like,
my cat would love that.
the dog would love that.
Yeah. Dog
You know?
would probably chew it up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that we were talking about.
Here's the. I'll put this. Here's the video of the kitty curls. See how it moves around like that. And he was getting inside. At one point, he stood up and it was around his neck. These are cute curls.
You know, when I used to have, being an operative word.
Oh, look, see.
I had, for a while, one thing that was all the rage were these little pillows that were like full of styrofoam beads, like a beanbag chair, but only they were little tiny, you know, pillows, stuffed animals or whatever.
I still have one.
So yeah, so I had one that was I don't know if it was a pig or some kind of animal, and so because I had a couple of them, because I know one of them was like yucky because my cat Cyrano used to, you know, chew on it or whatever. It was all gooky from his mouth. But anyway, I had this animal. It was a pig or a cow or something, I don't know. But I had it in my apartment on the couch or whatever. And a friend of mine had been watching the cat when I went home for Thanksgiving. And I came back at, you know, like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I'd flown in. And my friend had, you know, watched the cat until that day, because I said, you know, I'll be home on Sunday night or whatever. And so I walk in, and there is styrofoam little beads everywhere. All over there was a pile of them on the floor, and this animal thing was dead on the floor, full of, you know, beads everywhere. There's beads all over my couch. and Puck, this is when I just had Puck by himself. Puck comes, and he had them all stuck to him in his fur, you know, staticky on his fur, and he had them like even in the corners of his eyes.
poor thing.
Because,
Yeah, they
you know,
say that that's the danger of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so here I
You
was.
probably ate a few too.
Yeah, who knows? So here I was at 11 o'clock vacuuming because I couldn't go to bed with all the styrofoam everywhere. So here I am vacuuming in the middle of the night, my whole apartment because they were everywhere.
Yeah, and those are awful.
Yeah,
Those are awful. I hate.
Yeah, and they're just they're like in the corners of creases of my couch, all over the floor, all over the cat, all over the
The
bed.
only reason I still have mine is because it's really good for my neck because it'll shape to the right shape. But yeah, I'm always like, if I even see her thinking about biting it, get that away from you. Yeah, I'm always terrified she's gonna try to eat it.
Or like remember when bean bags were a thing and you would like flop down and it would burst. Oh my God.
I was gonna say I had.
Yeah, I can remember cleaning up many a beanbag mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, joys of being our age. Oh, I have a story about too many projects. So I always feel guilty because, as you all know, I have too many projects and all of them are half done. So, and I am filled with guilt on a daily basis. So, but I was talking to my friend. She's my friend that I knew when I worked there before, and now we're working together again. And I'm like, we were always meant to work together. And she's great. But she was saying her husband will start a project and then he'll start another project, but they're house projects. And I'm like, that's way worse than knitting bags. So this time I felt a little better. Like at least it's not a bathroom or a kitchen.
Yeah.
It's just a bag of yarn. It's not hurting anybody.
All those HGTV shows that they'll have some rescue thing where some husband tore their kitchen apart or something, and the wife's like, they're tore their bathroom apart.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, that's
at least cross stitching and knitting and things like that. You have the
I have
space
so
problem.
many projects that I can't do a WIP parade. I just do what projects I'm going to work on during the year because it would be a 3-hour long.
Oh, I know. And well, see, but it's coming back to bite me now because Hannah's room has become a disaster area right now because I got busy with with trying to do the journal cover. I got on I gotta do this new project and then I gotta do it for her birthday. but I have 1,000 things I need to do, and so but I started just kind of dumping things and moving things around, and now it's not passable, and I really want it to be a peaceful place where I can go in and finish my projects, and where I can go in and there's problem with things like the quilts that I need to finish. Those take up house space, which is part of why I've struggled with that, because with Rachel's quilt I got the stuff for the back and the batting
to spread out.
But I have to take over the dining room, and I just haven't had that kind of brain space and house space, and because it's kind of a couple days where it's so I need to, but I need to do that obviously, and I want to finish it, and so I've just and then I was like, I'm gonna have this week off, but I didn't have a week off. I did so much in the week, so. Anyway.
I wanted to say, I mentioned this on my video, and actually I have to talk to my friend Brandy about this video. Some time ago, I got a couple of boxes, one from Portugal and one from someplace else, and I could not figure out who had sent them. I thought I didn't know any of my viewers were from, out of the country, from a different country or whatever. But neither of these two boxes, they came on a few days apart, and neither of them had a card or a note or anything to indicate who they were from. And I could not figure it out. And they were these little fishy dishes, kind of,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So
They
did
were
you
from,
figure it out?
yeah, they were from my friend Brandy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she and I were friends when I used to live in Little Rock. She lived there for a while, and I knew she and I were very good friends. We used to hang out all the time, and then she moved away. She had she got her I think her parents got her a job in another state there, and so she and I kept in touch a little bit, but and then I moved away, of course, and so we kept in touch a little bit online. And so then she.
How did you find out that they were from her?
She mentioned it. Said, "Oh, did you ever get these things?" She said that I guess the ones she sent. I guess she got them on Etsy or something.
Oh.
But the ones she sent from Portugal, she wasn't sure whether they had arrived because she didn't have any notification that they had arrived, and I didn't know they were from her, or I would have said, "Oh, thanks for the news."
Right.
So she didn't know whether I'd gotten them, so she ordered the second set.
Oh no.
And they were like little, they're little fishy dishes things, but so yeah, so I'm like, and I was like, I don't know who sent these. I don't know where they're from.
Does she watch your channel?
No, she didn't know. She didn't know I had this, and so I told her, "Hey, yeah, I'm on YouTube." And so,
Funny.
so yeah,
That's nice of her.
yeah, it was very nice. And so anyway, so yeah, that was mystery solved.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
So that blue fabric that I bought that came from France,
Mm-hmm.
Etsy still shows it in transit. I've tried to contact them and tell them she can't change it from her side. I can't change it from my side. It has to be changed on Etsy.
Oh no.
And I've tried.
Did you get it? No, you got
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
Remember I showed you one gray, one blue?
Oh, yeah.
I said, it says, "Oh, do you need help with an order?" I don't need help from the person I bought it from. I need help. And then I tried to go in the frequently asked questions, and I'm like,
Wow.
okay, you're making it too hard. And I don't want her to get a ding because it shows it not being
Right.
delivered,
Yeah.
and because it was
Did you
delivered.
contact her? You told her?
Yeah, I
Oh,
told her,
okay.
and she says, "I don't think I can change it from here." And I said, and that day it wasn't on there, but then it came back the next day.
Oh no.
So
That's crazy.
I have to go in there and look harder and say, "Look, you've got a problem here.
Yeah.
It definitely arrived." And that one I had contacted her because it kept showing like pre-transit.
Uh-huh.
And to me that meant customs. I don't know why it said pre-transit. Because it said shipped and then pre-transit.
Yeah.
And so what the heck?
Was she chewing?
Chewing her nails.
Yeah.
So I contacted her after the amount of time the other one had arrived, and it said estimated, this day to that day. Well, I contacted her and I said, it's saying estimated to be here. And it's not here yet. I'm not particularly worried. It's just that I can't, it says it's still pre-transit. And she goes, yeah, she went and looked at it. She goes, I'm seeing the same thing. I said, well, if it doesn't come in the next day or two, I'll let you know. And it came, so I contacted her and I said, yeah, it's here, it's beautiful. And I wasn't happy about the color of that gray one because it didn't look like the picture.
Yeah.
But I didn't bust her chops over it. I did put a review that the picture was the wrong color. But that's hard to do, I didn't mind. It was just, it's pretty fabric anyway. I wasn't going to send it back for that.
Right.
But that thing is still there.
That's weird.
It's still there, and it's driving me bananas. So, and I even went on and reviewed it to try to see if that would make it go away. No.
Well,
like when-
I went to my new job and I broke our software. So it has like a ticket design tool that you can use to design the ticket, you know, what the ticket's gonna look like. And as part of that, you can put in pictures like logos and things like that. And I knew there was a logo uploaded into the software, into the system, I mean, because they had used it before I got there on the design of the mobile ticketing. So I was like, okay. So it said organizational, like, image or something. So I'm like, oh, that's probably, I could probably get the logo from that. And if you click the plus, you don't, the way this works, it's not really like a design, software or anything like that. It's very HTML with all the, anyway. So you click it, you just click the plus and it throws it in the template and you can move it around and adjust it. Well, it threw it in there and the logo was little like this, but the image had all that white space behind it. So, because I couldn't see it, pick one or see how big it was.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Anything. So it was huge and it filled up the whole space, and at one point I was able to move it, and I said there's a button that says reset to the original for the ticket template itself. So I did that. Okay, that was weird. But then dumb me, I'm gonna try it again.
What?
I'm gonna try it again. So I tried it again, and it did the same thing, but this time it was like, it's so huge that it's then like thinking, and I can't grab it, I can't move it, and it's covering the reset button, and it's covering the remove this item button, and it just like, page is not responding, do you want to wait? So I wait, and they're like, I was dealing with this most of yesterday. Yes, I'll wait. Okay. Page is not responding. Do you want to wait or do you want to close the page? Okay, fine, I'll close the page. And then I get back into it, same problem. And I logged out of the software and logged back in, same problem. I logged out of the software, closed my browser, closed my email, restarted the computer, went back in, same problem. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a different browser. Instead of Chrome, I'm going to use Safari, not Safari, like Edge. Even though I don't like Edge, I'm going to use it, go in there and see, same problem. So hopefully it will clear its little brain out, or I'm going to have to put a ticket in on Monday. But I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have to like get this ticket designed very soon. So that was fun. I'm like,
Have you tried it from your home computer?
No, I'm going to this weekend. I'm going to try it today and see.
Yeah, this weekend I have to draw all the things for next week so that I know what I'm drawing.
Oh, you have like a summer camp?
Yeah, there was a little boy, and honestly, he was just a little bit immature for the class. He tried, you know, but he also had some behavioral issues, and my boss is like, well, maybe, you know, we should look and see if he's signed up. And I tried to tell her, you know, overall, he's a very pleasant little boy.
Yeah.
But you can't get him out of a funk very easily when he
gets upset or something.
Yeah, but he's a child, you know. So we did it was the first time that they'd done this particular design.
Have you already done a week of camp?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time they'd done this particular week of this camp. And
First time they offered the camp?
No.
Oh.
They've done others before. It's just this is because of Moana. It's a Polynesian.
Oh, okay.
And it's beautiful, and the drawings are fun and beautiful, right? But I said, this is not enough stuff. On 2 of the days, I had to say it just wasn't enough stuff to fill 2 hours. Okay, that picture is beautiful, but it's too easy to fill 2 hours. I had to pull something from a different day to fill up like 45 minutes.
Well, that's the worst. We don't have enough to do.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's not
well,
like I can just say, well, we're just gonna draw these cartoons, or say, no, I have to draw their stuff, and they're, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was beautiful, and I was, while they were coloring, I was in the process of talking to her, and she gave me that idea of pulling something from, we hadn't gotten to, you know, before, that, you know, something from the next day. So, but it happened again on Friday.
It's like when I
Oh
was.
gosh. So are you going to design stuff for next week so that you don't run out of that, or I mean, so you run into that, or?
Well, I didn't design, what I did was Friday, I knew it was not gonna take the whole time.
Yeah.
And so I pulled an excerpt out of it and said, just because this is really little, we're gonna draw it big first so that we know what we're drawing. We draw it really little. And I said, I don't know if I should have done that or not, but I need 2 hours worth of stuff to
Yeah, I was
draw.
gonna say, I've run into this a little bit doing my videos, but I used to run into it all the time with my lessons in graduate school, because one of the things I was doing in graduate school was learning all these, there's a list of the excerpts that you have to do when you're auditioning. You know, typically, you know, oh, this solo from this piece, and this solo passage from this piece, and this difficult passage from this piece. And they're the kind of things that when you go to audition for an orchestra, they're the kind of things that are on the list of things they want you to play, or things they're going to choose from for you to play. And so one phase that I was doing my lessons was, my teacher had given me this list of all these things, and he's, you know, so I work on 3 or 4 of them, and I would go and, like, if I was doing, like, say, 3 Beethoven symphony excerpts or something, I would go to the library and I would copy all these things, and I would work on them, and he wanted me to work on the whole piece, right? So not just the difficult parts, but the whole piece. So I would, you know, do that, you know, and work on all these difficult passages, and then I'd go to my lesson, and it would take, like, you know, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to do them all. And it's like, okay, what else do you got? And I'm like, what? I spent all week working on this stuff, you know, and so, yeah.
How do you have that problem with your videos?
Well, with their videos, it's like, yeah, you spend all week working on this piece and all, you know, and that piece, and then it takes like 2 seconds to say, this is what I did. You know, so your video is, you know, but like, it's like, I promise it took me all week to work on that. It took me 2 seconds to show it. Okay, I'm all done.
That's all right.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons
I was just like, normally in the young Rembrandt's classes, you have the opposite problem. You have so much stuff that you have to decide what to leave off so that they can have time to color. Because they tell you, draw this for this long time, and then, and I'm not saying leave off if it's like one picture. I mean, you know, and I don't want to race through stuff. But when you're drawing cartoons and you have, you know, they say, well, yeah, we give you 4 cartoons, but you try to draw 2 because it's only an hour, and that's not enough time, you know.
Right.
Especially some of the schools, they make you have convoluted ways. Kyrene, I don't know what happened to Kyrene, but they think the kids are incapable of finding a room. More, you know, I could understand the very first day meeting the kindergartners in a hallway and walking them to wherever, but it
Anyway.
yeah, you know, I'm like, really? Do you know how much time that takes?
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
now, so you're doing a summer camp and you have 2 hours.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So next week I have to study all the ants, so I really got to
It's
go.
2 hours every day.
It's 2 hours every day.
Yes. In the morning or in the
It's in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, And the kids that I had were real pleasant. This little boy, like I said, he was overall a very pleasant child. It just
Is it mixed age, like all grades?
6 through 12, elementary.
Oh, 6 years old.
Age.
Age,
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, 6th grade.
No, age.
Okay.
And he's on the young end of that. So,
Yeah,
so you know, it's really hard. You know, and she's really responsive and tries to. She goes, "I'm sorry you're having this problem," and I'm like, "No, it's okay. I worked with it, but I'm just letting you know." So I hope she doesn't tell him that he's too young for the class, because I think if he's going to be successful in elementary school, he needs to learn how to control his control himself. You know.
Yeah.
So.
It's like Mommy was talking about how she'd get kids. You know, my mom taught 1st grade, and she'd get kids who
Didn't even know how to hold a pencil.
They didn't, had never held a pencil or crayon. They thought their name was Baby. So fortunately, I guess at some point, kindergarten became mandatory, and so
Yeah, but
kids
you
went through
still
that,
run into those problems.
Yeah.
When Robert was in daycare, there was a little boy. I have no idea what his name is. He and Robert had an issue. His name, they called him Butter. Even the daycare called him Butter. I'm like, that's not his name. Because he had little butterball cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not his name, and that's actually not nice. Yeah. So, and anytime you have a mix of
Ages.
capabilities and a mix of ages, and
Well, that's how they used to teach school ages ago.
and you know what I did? He was in a funk for a while, and I just ignored him. And because the first time I gave him an alternative, thing that he could do, and I'm like, I'm not doing that every week.
Yeah.
We do not free draw in young Rembrandts. So I said, after he was good and bored from doing nothing, I said, do you want to come here and one-on-one once I get them coloring? I'll teach you how to draw it, the thing I did at the beginning.
He's probably overwhelmed. It
And-
sounds like he's overwhelmed.
Well, what happened was he got upset because he went to erase something and it tore the paper. And I forgot, because I forget that these guys haven't been with me,
Yeah.
My let me teach you how to erase.
Right.
Hold your hand like this, put the eraser here, and erase here. Do not just erase, because it bends the paper,
Right.
And once they learn it, they're like, oh, that really works, because you can push hard and not bend your paper, and not rip it. And I said, that's okay, I'll give you another sheet of paper, it's not a big deal. But he got upset.
Yeah, some kids.
I have to
Little
wonder.
perfectionists like my children. That's
Well, but I also have to wonder what kindergarten was like for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
He'll be all right.
Yes, he will. He will.
I wish I could go to art class instead of work.
I wanted to take the line dance class. So I got moved from one room to another room because they put the line dance, she said somebody put the line dancing class up in the carpeted room, and that is just not going to work.
And what school is this at?
This is not a school, this is at Chandler Chandler Recreational,
Oh.
Summer Chandler Rec.
Oh, okay.
They have all kinds of programs.
Yeah, they do have good. They do have good stuff.
They have really good summer programs. So
They have stuff for adults too, and all kinds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
there was a woman that I spoke to as I was and arriving yesterday. She goes, "Are you coming to the prom tonight?" And I was like, "I was going in to teach right now." "Yeah, but I asked you, are you coming to the prom tonight?" I said, "What prom?" And she said, "We're having a prom for senior citizens."
Aw.
And I thought that was fabulous.
Yeah.
I said, no, I can't. You know, she sounded all disappointed. But they have all kinds of programs.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Prom
So-
for senior citizens. So if you didn't go to prom when you were a kid, you can go now.
No, but it's nice if
No,
you're
it is
if you're
nice. That's fun.
if you're alone.
You get dressed up and go do something.
If you're alone and
Yeah.
you know, you get a certain age, the only people you know are the people you live with.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun though.
Oh, the thing, you know, my friend Carol that I knew he's one of our concertmasters in Arkansas. He's coming out here to play with the Sierra Vista Symphony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in April, and
I'm sorry I can't take
Yeah.
you. She was like, can we go? And I went and looked at my calendar, which I'm still learning my calendar, but that day we have 2 shows.
yeah.
So I'm not going to have any time.
Where is it going to be?
I think
It's like South Sierra Vista. I don't know exactly where that is.
I don't know. I think it's in Sierra Vista itself, but I'm not sure if it's part of a program somewhere else. But it's like south of Tucson, I guess, or something.
Oh,
So
yeah, no.
yeah. So I don't know if they're playing there or if the Sierra Vista Symphony is playing somewhere else. He had posted something in there, and so I just was looking up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that,
Yeah.
and I thought I looked at it. It is in actual
In Sierra Vista.
Sierra Vista.
You might see if there's a bus going down there. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
If it's something that there's an activity, there might be a group of people going.
Mm.
But yeah, no,
I have until April to figure it out.
yeah, that concert that we're doing that day is the British Invasion.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah, our
I can't see what I'm doing.
is going to be good this year.
So I had my eyes dilated, which is why I am
I was going to
crocheting.
say you're probably
And-
resting.
And one of the problems is that I'm like, I can't tell where I put 2 instead of 1.
No,
That's how come I keep trying to
I
count
know. I
it.
see you looking with your head down. I'm like, girl.
It's like,
you're
is that
resting
2?
your
Is
eyes.
that 1? So, yeah. Anyway, I have things I need to do, so
Yes.
Yes.
I've got
got
to
a
finish a
free
meat.
day, which
The
means I
meat
have-
the meat is almost big enough,
Oh, okay.
but this meat is double wide and double thick
Oh, okay.
because your burger should have a nice thick piece of meat in it.
Where's the beef? I have nothing to do today, which means I have a ton of things to do today. If I have an actual schedule, then I get out of doing all the things I need to do at home. So I have to do those things at home this week. So
I have to have a mani pedi party with my cats
Oh,
because I was just realizing, you know, like I was got a thing from my podiatrist saying, you know, oh, you have an appointment coming up, and I was just thinking that like, you know, like, oh yeah, I have to trim my nails. I bashed into something with my one of my fingers and like, you know, scuffed up my nail, and it was, you know, I could tell that, oh yeah, I need to trim that off. But then Puck, at a certain point, he'll come up. He always comes up and like walks on me or whatever. And the other night I was wearing this nightshirt that's like kind of like a waffly, you know, knit whatever. And he's like hooking, trying to walk.
The dog
Mark-
needs the bathroom, so we got to
Or,
go.
you know,
Mark will
or
say,
he'll-
you need to trim those cats' nails.
yeah, or he'll put his paw on my face, you know, like, okay, don't do that. It hurts.
Well, thank you so much for joining us again for another week. We hope your June is going great. It's not too hot here. We actually had rain on June 1st
Yeah.
for the first time in 100 years.
111 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's been kind of pleasant. It's been like around 100, which we think is great. Sorry, I know you're like, what? But
It's very pleasant outside.
yeah, it's actually not too bad. So we hope
They haven't even put out the misters yet.
I know. We hope you're having a good June, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.